you'll see that there's a link to the printing file. Okay, so all you have to do is open this link and then hit the download button. Okay, and it's going to download the PSD that has all of the card backs on it, and then some images that you're going to replace. So if I go into my downloads folder, I can see I've got my own card, and then, oh, it looks like it hasn't finished downloading yet. Let's click it again. Download. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and open up on Photoshop. From my downloads folder, there's the playing card template and my playing card. I'm going to control click them, open them both, because I have to drag one into the other. One thing you can do, if you didn't save like a JPEG version of your card, you can drag the Photoshop document from one, or you can place it in and it will come in as a flat image. But this one already has just a plain background, so I can drag it up and drop it on and then rescale it. But if you don't do it this way, you can go to File and just tell it to place linked or embedded, and then I'll bring it in that way. So I need to use the clipping mask that's already present here to get my card to blend in. So I'm going to drag it below. You can see I've got some like empty or extra layers, okay, of previous examples, and then the 3 or 4 examples that already exist. They have this little downward pointing arrow. That means there's a clipping mask on those 4 to go with the 4 cards that are face down. So all I have to do is drag my layer underneath one of them, and it will start clipping to the same outline. And that outline is the 4 cards on the right. So we're going to have 4 copies of ourselves, and then these 4 we're going to leave as the backs of the playing card. So I need to resize this, Control T, I'm going to hold Shift, okay. Maybe use my arrows to nudge. And you can see with the clipping mask present, it's rounding the edges for me because the edges of the cards are rounded. All right, and once the clipping mask is established, I can put this on top of the other layers. Now I can press Control J to duplicate it. The duplicate copy is not clipped, but I can just move it down, drag it underneath, and it'll clip. And I'm not really deleting what was already on there. I'm really just covering it, okay? Now you're welcome, if you feel comfortable with the whole concept of clipping masks, you can delete the smart objects. It'll make your file size smaller, but we're not worried about printing the Photoshop document. We're actually going to print the JPEG because you guys have to do this and then share it with me, because they still haven't figured out your printing. If you're watching this video in the future, because I am recording it, you guys will have the benefit of being able to print for yourselves. So again, I will duplicate the layer. Doesn't matter what its name is. All right, just move it over, drop it on. Okay, so we have one on each section. There we go. I ended up duplicating. Alright, one thing I can see happening is I've got so much gray on this that it's starting to overlap on my other picture. So I have to make sure those are on the bottom of the stack. Nope. It's kind of getting in the way altogether. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'll go ahead and hide these layers. I probably could have trimmed it, but I think what I'll do is I'll just take a large rectangular selection, and I'm going to add a layer mask to each one of them. Ooh, it won't let me do it both at the same time. So I'll select one at a time, and I'll do layer mask, hide selection. So it'll just hide that gray from poking over. Control click to select it, and we'll attach it to the same thing. Layer mask, hide selection. Nope, that did the opposite. I'm going to press Control I to flip black and white. There we go. So now I can take these 2 layers. Let me convert them to a smart object. Ooh, it did. Alright, so I'll just press Control J, slide those over. Let's see what happens if I put a clipping mask on both. We're getting pretty close to being able to print. Okay. So at this point I can save my file, and if you want to share it with me, it'll probably be best to just save a copy as either a JPEG or a PNG, and then I will print it. Just make sure that you put your name, right now it's saving in the downloads folder. For those of you that need to have me print it this year, drop a copy in your first quarter folder on Google Drive, and I can print it from there. In fact, Beth and Kenneth, yours have already been printed. You can come collect them from the printer at any time. Okay? So again, you're going to File, Place, and you're adding your designs. You're going to right-click to make a clipping mask on the layer called Face of Cards. Okay? So even if there are no other images visible, you can establish that clipping mask. Just right-click and you can either choose to create or release it. All right.